everybody. It's Trevin, and welcome to Theater Thursdays. I'm here with my friend Periwinkle.
Hi, everybody. How are you today?
And we are going to talk to you about puppetry.
Yay!
So to get started, we're going to talk to Laurie Everitt. I did an interview with her, and she is the owner of Puppet Laurieate. And Laurie was the creator, the maker of Periwinkle. Yeah, she made you, Periwinkle. After the interview, we'll come back here, and I'll talk to you about some tips and tricks for puppetry for the camera.
See you soon!
Hi, Laurie. Thanks for joining us today on CTM's Theater Thursdays. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thanks, Trevin, for asking me.
So we are talking today, introducing our viewers to puppets and the art form of puppetry and how that can show up in the theater and how it can be its own thing too. So what got you into puppet?
All my life, I've loved comedy and whimsy and anything fun like that. And I also made things. I made things all my life. And about 8 years ago, I got into theater. A friend of mine was doing costumes backstage, and she invited me to work with her. And so I even worked with CTM. I was a stitcher on Christmas Carol years ago. So I've been doing wardrobes and costumes for a long time. And one of my costume designers needed a little man-eating hand puppet for one of the shows she was doing. And I bought a pattern online and made those two little puppets and put the pattern back in my stash and then didn't think about it for a long time. And I was driving to Minnesota to house sit for my brother and heard a song come on the radio, and I thought, I need to make a music video of this with puppets. So I got those back out of my stash and I made those two puppets, and then I wanted to make more and learn more. And I looked online and found a puppet making workshop in LA and flew down, and that's kind of where everything started.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think I met you as when you were a costume designer.
Yes.
That's how we first met, and then we've kind of been on this journey of puppet exploration together too. So that's really cool to hear how that sort of came about for you and how you've created some of those really great puppets behind you and even more.
I think that's what started because, I told you I was going down to LA and you said, let's do a puppet show together. And I think that was kind of another impetus that got me to where I am today.
What's the smallest puppet you've ever created?
The smallest one is a little cupcake. Which was
cupcake.
You hold it on the pole and it had a little string, and you'd pull on the string and it would make the mouth open like that.
Oh, very cool. So it wasn't necessarily a puppet you put your hand in like some of those up above you are.
Exactly. In fact,
Oh,
the more
wow.
I'm learning about puppetry, there's so many different styles that I know nothing about yet, like shadow and marionette and banbuku, and I have a lot more to learn. I mostly do
Cool.
arm and rod style like you see on the Muppets or Sesame Street.
Now, I know you've also created some really large puppets. What's the biggest puppet you've ever created?
The crocodile for CTM Peter Pan.
Awesome.
As I am.
Awesome. And I got to be the puppeteer inside that puppet. For our viewers, can we talk a little bit about, and that was a big puppet, I think because it sat on my shoulders and from the back of me, and we'll show a picture here. This is the picture of the puppet from CTM that I'm showing you right now. This was the crocodile that was in the production of Peter Pan. Yeah, so you can see it sat on my shoulders, and I think it was 7 feet from the back of me to the very tip of the nose. So how did you start a process like that, going from making puppets that fit on your hand or small puppets to this huge puppet?
For that one, I had a lot of help from somebody who had made one similar over in England. I'm in a couple of puppet making Facebook groups, and everybody's really helpful and kind and sharing advice. So he and I chatted a lot. He sent me a lot of pictures of what he did. But one way to make a puppet like that is you start off with a little pattern. I use salt dough to make a tiny crocodile head. And then you cover that with masking tape and then cut the tape apart to make a pattern. So starting with this, I made one that was about 3 feet long just to make sure that it was going to work okay. And then I enlarged that pattern even more to make the one that Trevin wore in CTM.
I know that you and I had a lot of meetings to sort of see how this fits. Like, why was it important for you to meet with the puppeteer?
I could make the most gorgeous puppet you've ever seen, but if the actor can't actually use it or wear it, it's not really going to be any good in the show. So it's kind of like a fitting for a costume. If the dancer can't move in the costume, then it's not going to be any good on the show.
So if our viewers that are watching this are interested in puppets, what are some tips you might tell them to get started in the playing in the world of puppetry?
I've got 2 resources. I'm sure they could find this book at the library. It's called Muppets Make Puppets, and there's all different kinds of little things that you can do, like a spoon puppet or a sock puppet or one made out of cups, just different things you can use around the house to get you started in making all different kinds of puppets. And the other one is to look up adamkrutinger.com. He is a fabulous resource. I use him all the time. He's actually an elementary school art teacher during the day, but on his off time, he's a puppet builder and puppeteer, and he offers all kinds of free videos and tutorials and patterns. This new pattern that I've been giving my actors is actually free on his website.
Oh, wow.
As is this little shark. He has a lot of resources if you just want to get started.
I have never seen that shark before. That's really cool.
My printer didn't print it quite the way it should have been, so I think it looks more like a trout compared to everybody else's sharks, but you know, it's
That's great.
He's an
That's
excellent
great.
resource. I use him all the time still.
So, Laurie, I see you've got puppets and stuff all around you there in your workshop. Do you have any puppets in process that you'd be willing to show us?
I do. I'm making a couple of cats right now. This is their body. Your hand would go through there like that. And this is the foam head. And your hand goes in there and holds into the mouth like that. So you can just move your thumb to move the jaw. And
Wow.
here is the head. It's closer to being done. Still
Oh,
needs
wow.
nose and another ear.
So you've got the ear on there, and then the eyes you're going to put like cat eyes in there?
Probably just little black pupils, but so it looks like it's looking at you.
Okay, very cool. That's awesome. So you have some other puppets you want to show us too?
Using one pattern, you can change it so many different ways to make a different looking puppet. Like this little guy, he's just got button eyes and some short fur hair. And this one has a slightly different head, but you can also put this nose on and longer hair and a different costume to make them look completely different. And one of the tricks I learned from the Muppets is these eyes are actually made out of spoons.
Spoons?
Yeah, a plastic spoon. You just cut the end off.
Oh, wow. And then you just start adhering those onto the puppet.
Exactly.
That's
if you look
very
at Fozzie Bear, I think he's got spoon eyes too.
Fozzie Bear, the Muppet does. Wow.
Sure he does.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Laurie, we thank you so much for coming and talking to our viewers today and showing us a little bit of your magical world of puppet creation and what can, it seems like there's no limit to what can happen with puppets and what we can create.
It's true.
Awesome.
Asking me, I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Puppet Laurieate.
Yeah, it was really great getting to know how I was made.
In our classes, we learned that eye focus is really important. So you'll see that Periwinkle is actually on my arm and I'm holding her up here. And if I put just her mouth to the camera, then you'll see that you barely get her eyes. And that somehow makes not feel like she's as alive as when she's looking right at us, right?
Of course I'm alive.
Another tip for puppetry with the camera is making sure the puppet breathes. You will see that as I take a breath, we also make sure that Periwinkle takes a breath. This helps to instill life into the puppet and make sure it's breathing and not just a toy that's going around on your hand, right? So, eye focus, making sure the eye is focusing on the camera so it's connecting with the viewer. Breathing. And breathing is really important right before the puppet talks.
Yes, because then it gives you an indication that I'm about to speak.
Yeah, so just breathing and eye contact can do so much for you in your puppet explorations. There's also the puppet arms, and depending on the type of puppet you have, they may have these rods. And these rods are how you move them around so that the puppet can gesture. I like to think that Periwinkle likes to dance a lot, so we'll use the arms a lot when she does dancing and plays a little music. Maybe we should try that now.
That was fun!
So as we discussed, remember these basic tips as you start to play with puppets on camera. That you can breathe, eye focus, and playing with the arms and how they move. And the voice. The voice is really fun too.
Yes, you can do all sorts of things with my voice. Trevin's trick for my voice is pitching it up a couple octaves when he edits this video.
Because this is what it sounds like when he's doing my voice without pitching him up.
Not quite as effective. Thank you for joining us for CTM's Theater Thursday. Now go find some puppets and play!